In today's Taste the World without leaving London, let's go to the obvious, England. G. Kelly is a pie and mash shop that is probably older than your grandparents. Many English traditional shops are disappearing, but because of G. Kelly's excellent pie, this one is still standing strong. Full video on YouTube, but Leanne says keeping its tradition is important because
I think it's important, and it's also about community coming together.
And whoever is watching this video, give it a go. You won't regret it. Hardwood Arms is the only Michelin-starred pub in London, and this is where I had my very first taste of Sunday roast. I loved it, and my friend told me it was one of the best roasts he had. What do you think? Did you know there is a little Portugal in London? In today's episode of Taste the World without leaving London, let's go to Portugal! If you go to Vauxhall, Stockwell, South Lambeth Road, you will find Portuguese bars, restaurants, cafes to a club. You can find a full video on my YouTube, but I went to Estrella that has been around for over 20 years. And not only the waiters, but the food all the way to the glorious weather made me feel like I was in Portugal and not in London, and I loved it. Did you know there is a little Istanbul in London? Yup, let's taste the world without leaving London. And today, let's go to Turkey. You can find a full video on YouTube, but Green Lanes and Haringey is where you can find everything Turkey, from restaurants to barbers. And many people on TikTok told me the best Turkish restaurant is Gökyüzü, and y'all weren't wrong. But there were so many more restaurants in Green Lane, and I wonder where is your favorite Turkish restaurant? Let's taste the world without leaving London, and today you and I are going to Colombia. I had bandeja paisa at Pueblito Paisa Cafe. The dish had beef, pork, chicken, chicharron, eggs, rice, plantain, chorizo, beans, arepa, and avocado. Fun fact, Colombia's national dish was just a regional dish popular in Paisa region. Full video on YouTube, but because of the visual of tasty dish, tourism industry used it as a promotion and single-handedly made it into a national dish, and now it is considered as one. In today's Taste the World without leaving London, let's go to Vietnam. 4 Mile is on Kingsland Road, where you can find tons of Vietnamese restaurants, supermarkets, to even a bar now. I have my favorite dishes at each different Vietnamese restaurant, and you can find a full list on YouTube. But if I have to choose my favorite, it's gonna be Song Ki. I go for the combo pho with tripe and bún bò Huế. It is the best soup noodle in the world to cure your hangover on Sundays. By the way, where is your favorite Vietnamese restaurant? I was so wrong about the Swedish meatballs. In today's episode of Taste the World without leaving London, let's go to Sweden! I went to a Michelin-star Swedish restaurant, Aquavid, and tried one of the most popular dishes in Sweden, Swedish meatballs. Full video on YouTube, but I was blown away to heaven. And I thought it can't get better than IKEA's Swedish meatball, but Korean spicy chicken, where you can choose a spicy level, is absolutely gorgeous. I went for level 4 and had a good shower. This is Ogam and... Is Wiener Schnitzel Austrian or German? In today's episode of Taste the World without leaving London, let's go to Austria. More detail on YouTube, but we can debate all day who claims Schnitzel, but Wiener Schnitzel, which has to be made with veal, unlike Germans who use pork, is uniquely an Austrian traditional dish, and Fisher's in London makes one of the most gorgeous Wiener Schnitzel. What do you think of eating pig intestine? I went to Biang Biang for their Xi'an-style hand-pulled pig intestine noodles, and it is spicy, tasty, and the best Xi'an noodle you can find in London. If you're not into pig intestine, you can also have beef or chicken. New fabulous Taiwanese restaurant alert, but first, let's taste the world without leaving London to Taiwan! Bao London has done it again with a noodle shop specializing in their national dish, Taiwanese noodle soup. There are only 2 types of main dishes here, and I had the Taiwanese beef noodle soup. Soup is so rich and deep, and the short rib was so soft and tender. It was smoother than a baby's skin. But was it better than Din Tai Fung? For the answer, check out my YouTube. I went to that viral Japanese udon restaurant Koya, and the udon was great, but the tempura was absolutely gorgeous. They have all kinds of udon, so read your menu before you go. Where is the best place to get fish and chips in London? I mean, where is the #1 in London? I went to Poppy's, an award-winning fish and chip shop, and it was gorgeous. But I'd like to know in your opinion. Who makes better jollof rice, Ghana or Nigeria? More on YouTube, but in today's episode of Taste the World without leaving London, let's go to Ghana. Anthony's food stall Wadada, which means love in Ghana, is in City of London. I had jollof rice with stew, curry, and salad with chicken, and let me tell you, flavors are spot on, and the spicy kick was just fantastic. But people say Nigerian jollof rice is also spot on, and people debate on whose jollof rice is better. Some people take it so seriously, they even do a cook-off match on a jollof rice day. What do you think? Another day, another Korean restaurant with the Korean corn dogs. But is it worth it? Korean dinner party brings the spirit of the most famous Koreatown in the world, where authenticity thrives, and the new Korean food was created from Bukchangdong sundubu to Korean Mexican tacos. But just because KDP plays Korean hip-hop doesn't mean you're bringing LA's Koreatown. Nothing was super authentic nor innovative. You'll be disappointed if you just go for a full and filling meal, but I would definitely come back for just drinks. There is no better all-American restaurant than Red Dog Saloon. From burgers to briskets to ribs to wings, almost everything is as good as you would have in the States. Am I going crazy, or there are new Korean restaurants opening every week in London? A recent sold-out residency at Carousel, Juwon is taking over the famous Bunhouse Tea Room for 2 months serving Korean dishes, and the dishes were a unique mix between Korean, Chinese, and European, and was absolutely gorgeous. Did you ever think a popcorn chicken can be elevated to another level? Maki Mayo has been serving since 1994, and that perfect fried chicken was just tasty, filling, and fun. And I can say it is 1,000 times better than the KFC popcorn chicken. How to go 3 Michelin to 0 Michelin star restaurant in a day. What happened? But first, in today's episode of Taste the World without leaving London, let's go to Japan. I went to the only sushi omakase in London, which means getting whatever sushi the chef wants to serve. And I went to plenty in New York and Japan, but this was the first time food made me want to cry of joy. More detailed video on YouTube, but when the owner Araki retired to go back to Japan, Michelin took all 3 stars away. But did it matter? No, cause it was still a 3 Michelin star experience to me. Would you pay 24 pounds for a martini? At the Connaught Bar, you can order a customizable martini on a trolley, and it is worth every penny. Do you know which restaurants Korean celebrities like BTS or Son Heung-min goes when they visit London? Ole. It is a Korean barbecue restaurant and Korean celebrities' favorite. So I took our celebrity, food connoisseur Kate, and I had an absolute. What makes a Korean cocktail bar stand out among other cocktail bars? It not only serves traditional Korean drinks to uniquely Korean specialty drinks, but also it gives you a sense of very welcoming community. Perfectly cooked lobster with the sauce poured over egg noodles was delicious. And I could see why Hong Kong travelers would come all the way to London to go to this Chinese restaurant, creator of the Lobster Noodles Mandarin Kitchen. Who agrees with me that Haidilao is not just dining out but more like an experience. But first, in today's episode of Taste the World without leaving London, let's go to China, more specifically Sichuan. You can check the full video on my YouTube, but not only Haidilao's hot pot is the best of the best that made Haidilao a billion-dollar business, but from free nail polishes to noodle shows, costume shows to happy birthdays to cooking your own meal, this is truly a fabulous experience. This is the best gelato you can get in London, made freshly every day at Italy's cafe. I thought O'Donnell's was the best, but 3 Michelin star Japanese chef told me that Canada is where he goes for Japanese ramen. He thinks it is the best among all the others, even though it became slightly commercialized. This is how a white person does Asian food right. Not whitewashing the food and culture, but keeping its core ingredients, process, and taste, and can still appeal to the general public. It is kiln. Ole is overrated because of BTS, but Kobai is underrated. Kobai is another upscale Korean barbecue restaurant that doesn't get much attention. Their barbecue is fresh and well marinated, but the a la carte was also well thought out and excellent. At this point, we all know. This is the only restaurant in London that sells dry hot pot. It is like the Sichuan hot pot, but it has no soup, so it is not diluted. Can choose the spicy level and super addicting. Cambodian food is criminally underrated. And why? In today's episode of Taste the World without leaving London, let's go to Cambodia. There's only one Cambodian restaurant in the whole of London, and compared to Thai or Vietnamese food, it is not well known, but it got the best of both worlds where you can have a taste of Thai, Vietnamese, and Malaysia. Oldest restaurant in London that survived for 125 years. I wonder how a restaurant could survive that long. And after tasting the food, I found out why Shiki, a seafood-focused restaurant, became one of the Uncle Roger loves Laksamania. And if you love Uncle Roger, stop scrolling, because in today's episode of Taste the World without leaving London, we're going to Malaysia. Yes, with 10 different types of laksa to Malaysian hawker food stall dishes, everything was so delicious. So much represent Malaysia. We're on YouTube, but I've been to Rasa Sayang CNR, Fat Folk, and Roti King, and I could definitely see why. What you get when you're drunk? Kebab, burger, pizza? I get something soupy, and CNR in Chinatown is my go-to place when I am drunk. That laksa just saves you. But I want to know. Today's episode of Taste the World without leaving London, you and I are going to Afghanistan. Yes, I know TikTok suppresses anything political, but I am not here to talk about politics. I am here to talk about how we're sleeping on the amazing Afghan food. From kabuli pulao, which is mixed rice with lamb, to mantu, which was better than my Korean dumplings. It is absolutely gorgeous. If you are craving ramen, stop scrolling. After endless pop-ups, Supaya Ramen is now opened permanently. And it isn't just another popular tonkotsu or shoyu ramen, but unique, creative, and rare, but most importantly, so tasty. Marugame was like the food you get at a rest stop on a highway in Korea. Cheap, fast, easy, tasty, but kinda forgettable. No offense, but you have to go to Brighton this weekend for the last of our sunbathing with a little blast of Indian summer. But where should you go eat? English is where Ian McKellen went twice while visiting Brighton. Yes, it's that good. Winter is coming, so this is the best kept secret Korean restaurant that study abroad Korean students likes to go when they miss Korea. And the must order is the backbone rib stew. It is so good. She's an icon, she's a legend, and she is the moment. Jolene, I mean the restaurant Jolene. A bakery turns into a restaurant at night with daily changing menu with their famous pasta that is just gorgeous. And feel the ambience. Where can you get good Korean food in Brighton? Kogi. But why would you get Korean food all the way in Brighton? Don't judge me. I was hungover and was looking for my roots. Compared to Din Tai Fung, it is cheaper, better, and faster. Beijing dumplings, soup dumpling was absolutely delicious, and most shockingly, I doubted my eyes when the bill came. It was life-changing. If you're going to Pizza Union or Pizza Pilgrim, adding extra cheese is a must. It makes the pizza 1,000 times better and tastier. Trust me. You want to go to Japan right now? Well, you can't, but you can if you go to Tokonoko. This restaurant brought me back to my short time I spent in Japan, with different menus every day that is so tasty with the best view. You feel lucky to be even in the presence of Tokonoko. Altazar was for the basics, but just for 18 pounds, you can get 2-course menu that is substantial at this absolutely beautiful, beautiful restaurant. I thought, do you love going to Eat Tokyo in Soho but hate the line? Try Holborn Eat Tokyo. Only 10 minutes walk from Soho branch. There is never a line even on a Friday. What is wrong with this restaurant? I thought the food was the stars, but oh my god. The performers were the absolute stars. Dining with the superb entertainment at Park Chinois was a fantastic experience. National Burger Award is back to find the burgers worth worshipping. And I hope Meat Mission's green chili cheeseburger wins, because when I had a bite, my mind was... Did you know Somali food comes with a banana? And it is not for dessert. In today's episode of Taste the World Without Leaving London, let's go to Somalia. I went to Somali restaurant Zamzam and had baris and hirib. It is rice and meat, but also comes with a side of soup, salad, and banana. Full video on YouTube about why, but you have the banana with the meal, and who knew banana would create a perfect balance between the spiciness of the chili and the saltiness of the meat. Why do I go to one of the worst reviewed restaurants in Chinatown? Because of their bakery. One of the oldest bakery in Chinatown, and Kolin's char siu bun is better than Chinatown bakery.